Welcome into the practice tee inside the MGL Sim Studio. Bill Hobson here along with Austin Deiters, who is the head golf professional at the Midland Golf headquarters and a heck of a player in his own right. And I've asked you to come in with some tips, especially as you and I stand here. It is freezing outside in our part of the world. So there are some things that we all can work on, even if we can't go out onto green grass, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Where are we headed in this tutorial?
So we're going to do some different things and really kind of give you some things to chew on for the winter to be able to improve the golf swing. Winter's a great time to work on the mechanic structure, right? We're not too worried about where the ball's going and giving our score, so we can really do some things to impact our scores on the course now.
Okay, so what's the first thing you want me to learn here today?
So we're going to learn a little bit about our starting posture. I think it has an
I've got
incredible influence on our swing.
I've got terrible posture.
And most people get
told that
wrong.
all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you say starting posture,
Yeah.
what are we often getting wrong as golfers?
It's right from the start. You know, we talk about our bend of our body and all that stuff. You know, everyone says knee bend, and everyone gets into this big squat right here. I wouldn't say this is an incredibly athletic position to be able to make a move at the ball.
Yeah.
We actually want to create the bend through here and pushing that back. That way our arms can hang. If we get into here, we're no space, nothing to be able to move.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the step one. And the second one being often our spine angle as posture.
Okay.
For start. So when we start off, a lot of players, I see this all the time. This left shoulder, they'll start. They get these shoulders kind of pointed this way.
Yep.
And this left shoulder outside of this lead hip here. If I were to make a swing from this, I'm already stuck over top of my ball. So if we now make our downswing from here, we got two moves. Either we just come right down on top, or we end up trying to fix it and going back that way.
As somebody who sees golfers come into your place all the time, you're seeing a million different iterations of posture, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, you're seeing everything.
Yes.
So what's the most common error that you're seeing?
It would be that one right there. Those
Okay.
shoulders. Their shoulders are so level at address, and then they get kind of leaning this way because everyone's told to start their weight forward, and they're leaning like this. And often someone comes over the top on a ball.
Yeah.
You get them their left shoulder back a little better, get them some tilt here, and their pass starts to get put online rather than they're already setting themselves up for failure.
Now, I have seen, let me borrow your stick for a minute.
Yeah.
I have been told, I have been used as the test crash dummy numerous times, talking about spine angle, that I'm also supposed to have a perfectly straight line from my butt to the back of my head. I mean, I feel like I'm suddenly becoming a mannequin. I can't move like this. And I have some curve in my spine. Anyways, does that part matter?
I actually like to see a little bit of a tilt to our spine, because I would say that is more of our athletic motion. We can't be straight up and down when we strike that ball.
Right.
I like to see a little bit of almost a slight angle of our spine. Our right hand's lower on our club than our left, so we should have our right shoulder lower than our left. So if we set up perfectly straight with our shoulders level, we're already set up to be able to go right down to that ground there.
So for all the years that we have watched, like Adam Scott put out the perfect everything.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yes.
Are we supposed to be imitating that? Are we supposed to have the Adam Scott poster up in our bedrooms and trying to become Adam Scott? Or is he a one-off kind of a thing?
We can definitely have hopes and dreams of looking like Adam Scott.
Right.
But he has tested, and I don't know if you're familiar with TPI, the Titleist Performance Institute, right? They have a testing that they do for your flexibility, your mobility. He is a freak of nature when it comes to mobility, and that's a testament to how he takes care of his body.
Yeah.
So if we're doing the things that these professionals are doing to keep their bodies up to hit these positions, maybe we have a chance.
We don't all have a team of personal trainers.
There we go, exactly. They're stretching, they're doing things every single day to reach these positions. Some of us just aren't capable of spending that amount of time.
Okay, so I'm going to step into what is my normal posture,
Absolutely.
and then you feel free to do whatever you need to do. I won't take a swing. I just want you to tell me if I've got anything even remotely close, and then we want to give some specific tips to our viewers for how they can work on this, maybe in front of a mirror or something. So I'm generally going to step in sort of like this.
Sure.
What don't you like?
So I don't like to see a left arm get too far under this right arm at address.
So behind, it's just pointing too far left, is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
Okay.
I want those to be squared up, and especially when we get to driver, I actually want this right arm to be lower, and we should see that left arm get higher with our driver.
Okay.
That's a little bit more close.
So here I am with an 8-iron in my hands. Am I to use You know, if I'm on the range, am I to use an alignment stick, not just for my feet and for my hips, but should I be also using that to project up to where my arms are aligned?
Yeah, I would say it's a great tool to do. Just kind of hold it up there. You know, it's best served with someone to help you there.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be a professional, but just to say, okay, hey, that would be open. We want to get you to here, which is the square.
Okay. So our minds, our eyes, can play tricks on our minds.
Oh, yes, they do.
I can't tell you how many times I've been on the range or on the golf course, and I've asked somebody who was with me, hey, where do you think I'm set up? Where am I aiming? And they're like, 30 yards right of that flag. No chance.
No.
I'm locked in. I am as square as can be. So then we put the stick down.
Yes.
And it doesn't lie. It's a straight stick.
Yeah.
What is it about the mental side of this where we can probably incrementally creep over into bad habits and bad posture and alignment?
Yeah, I would say it's mainly in repetitions. And often people try to align their body to our target. And if we do that, let's say I'm trying to go here. If I align my body to my target, I put my club down, well, that's a whole different line that we're aligning, right?
Yeah.
My face will now be right on my target if I'm aligning my body straight to that target.
Okay.
And that's an often thing you'll see. You know, they go like this to aim themselves. And that's not necessarily what we want, because if I do this, I'm pointing that way, I put my club down, that's a separate parallel line there, right?
Yeah.
That's now right on my target.
So it's possible to have your feet lined up, your hips lined up,
Yep.
and everything else is off.
Yes.
Right?
Especially if we're lining all of our body directly at our target.
Okay. So in kind of conclusion to this concept, let's give some at-home tips. Whether, you know, maybe you have access to a simulator, which would be great because then you can see some results. Maybe you just have a big mirror somewhere.
Perfect.
How do you want everybody at home to work on this
Yeah.
in the winter time?
Get in front of a mirror. Don't even need a club. Set up in front of the mirror. Look here. Make sure that this right shoulder is a little bit lower than the left. So we have a slight tilt to our shoulders. We don't want to be too level, and we definitely don't want to start this way. So we're giving a slight tilt to our shoulders, and make sure we've got a slight tilt to our spine. The one thing I look for, and this is really important with driver, I don't want to see this left shoulder outside of the left hip.
Okay.
So if you were to draw a line up from that left hip and your left shoulder starts to exceed outside of that, we're already setting ourselves up to attack this too far down.
Okay.
Unless we make compensations, which now we're, you know, bringing in timing factors to our swing. So I want to see this left shoulder more in line with this left hip, so it's almost kind of bumped out here, and make sure our shoulders have a slight tilt to them.
And all of this is important because it impacts how we get back to the ball.
Yeah.
Right? So like you said, if your shoulder's too low, you're probably going to dive into it. You're going to take a lot of turf.
Yeah.
You're going to sky your driver through the ceiling of my simulator or whatever it happens to be. And if our goal is, you know, here we have set up a target that's an island green, which is a rarity, but it gives you instant feedback if you're off.
Yes, it does.
If you have struggled with consistent shot disbursement in your game, if you're all over creation, it may tie back to the very foundational aspect of how you are aligned and how your posture is set up.
One thing that Scotty Scheffler does amazing, he does everything amazing, right? He's the number one player in the world, but he does the easy things really well. So when he's with his instructor, rarely are they talking too much about the positions of his swing and his playing. They're looking at his grip, they're looking at his posture, they're looking at his ball position, the simple things he does extremely consistent, which helps him be able to create consistent results.
You know, the basics are important even to the greats.
Yes, they sure are.
And they work on it. And if you go to a tour event and you just watch them on the range, everybody will have a simple stick like that laid down because alignment and posture is something every golfer struggles with.
Yep. And it's the most common thing that changes, right?
Yeah.
And that makes us change our golf swing. And that's why, you know, from time to time we have our good, our bad, all that.
If you are anywhere in the Great Lakes Bay region and you want to get some help with all of this, come see Austin and his team at the Midland Golf HQ. Meanwhile, we will see you next time with another edition of The Lesson Tee inside the MGL Sim Studio.